Hello, how are you? So I have this book and I have been wanting to read it again for a long time, and I had so much resistance, and I thought I started reading it again today, and I was like, oh my God, I have to share this, and I'll try and do it like in bite-sized, hello one person. I'll do it in 5-minute bite-sized pieces. It's so good. So, let me see. We'll skip the forward, whatever it's called. So, the start. You have been taught that there is something wrong with you and that you're imperfect, but there isn't, and you are not. Surviving childhood, establishing a strong early foundation for self-hate. Unless you were raised by wolves, the chances are extremely good that as you were growing up, you heard at least a few of the following. And I might skip a few. Don't do that, stop that, put that down. I told you not to do that. Why don't you ever listen? Wipe that look off your face. I'll give you something to cry about. Don't touch that. I'm not going to skip it because they're too good and it might resonate for you. You shouldn't feel that way. Stop crying. You should have known better. Will you ever learn? And if you're a parent, you've probably said many of those as well, even though you hated them. You should be ashamed of yourself. Shame on you. I can't believe you did that. Don't ever let me see you do that again. Definitely said that. See, that serves you right. I told you so. Are you ever going to get it? What were the last words out of my mouth? What were you thinking of? You ruin everything. You have no sense. You're nuts. I'm reading from a book if you've just joined. There's nothing wrong with you. The nurses must have dropped you on the head. Just once. Do something right. I've sacrificed everything for you, and what thanks do I get? I had great hopes for you. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. Give you an inch and you take a mile. Anybody would know that. Don't talk back to me. You'll do as you're told. You're not funny. Who do you think you are? Why did you do it that way? You were born bad. You drive me crazy. You do that just to hurt me. I could skin you alive. I have not heard that one, but you know. What will the neighbors say? You do that to torture me. You're so mean. I could beat the daylights out of you. It's all your fault. You make me sick. You're trying to kill me. Now what's the matter with you? Cry, baby. Go to your room. You deserve it. Eat it because children are starving. I've definitely said that before. Don't stick your lip out. If you cry, I'll slap you. Don't you ever think about anyone else. Get out of my sight. And on and on and on and on. And somewhere along the line, you concluded, little you, that there was something wrong with you. Of course you did. What else could you conclude? If there were nothing wrong with you, people wouldn't treat you that way. They wouldn't say those things to you. And then there's a picture with a gong. Wrong. Then why did they do that to me? because it was done to them. Because we do what we've been taught. Society calls this child rearing or socialization. We call it sad. The process of socialization teaches us to assume there's something wrong with us, to look for the flaws in ourselves, to judge the flaws when we find them, to hate ourselves for being the way we are, to punish ourselves until we change. We've been taught that this is what good people do. Socialization does not teach us to love ourselves for our goodness, to appreciate ourselves for who we are, to trust ourselves, to have confidence in our abilities, to look to our heart for guidance and our intuition. I'll add that. We've been taught that this is self-centered. Hey, Lisa Miller, I'm reading There's Nothing Wrong with You by Cheri Huber. By the time socialization is complete, most of us hold an unshakable belief that our only hope of being good is to punish ourselves when we are bad. We believe beyond doubt that without punishment or suffering, bad would win out over good. This entire book is based on the premise that that is not true. And so here is what's possible. The child is born. So it's like a circle of life. Child learns to turn away from self and towards others to get the needs met. So it stops trusting itself and stops trusting its intuitive knowing. And also, by the way, it's kind of so interesting because we are born helpless, like a human baby would not make it without help from the outside. So we have to trust and we have to rely on others. So we happily give our power away because we have to. So it's so interesting. So then, child learns to turn away from self towards other to get needs met. Then the need is not met. So let's say the child cries and someone doesn't pick it up. Child believes it is because he or she is bad. Child abandons self and decides to be perfect. Be who others want them to be. I won't need anything, so I have no needs. I shouldn't be afraid. I'll do everything right next time. The child begins to develop survival behaviors that are self-denying, self-preserving, self-destructive. So they shut down emotionally. We eat to stuff feelings down in order to please people. Then, when we become older, the older person uses self-hating behaviors, or you can replace it with not very kind behaviors. Self-hating behaviors to try to be a good person. Values others over self, denies self, so we give to others but not to ourselves. Uses ideals against self. And that causes suffering. And then the person tries everything to make the conditioning work. Then, if we're lucky, we find awareness practice, where we learn that, if I can become aware of the patterns or the conditioning that I'm running, then I can learn how to find compassion for myself and others and accept self and others. And, even that as a child, when we become conditioned, we learn, oh, that is Catherine. Oh, look at Catherine. But actually we are part of the whole. So even that, is a fallacy. And so when we find compassion and self-acceptance, the child is reborn. We are reborn. And that, it can mean one step forward, 5 steps back, and until we find more and more and more compassion and love for ourselves. So the title is My Survival System is Killing Me. What happened to you, not who you are, makes you angry, fearful, greedy, mean, anxious, etc. Fill in the blank, whatever works, whatever you are doing. We learned behaviors when we were very young in order to survive. And that can be, in good families too. We were taught to hate those behaviors and to see them as signs of our badness. Yet we must keep doing them because they still mean survival to us, or to our ego. And we hate ourselves for doing them. It's like the dichotomy. It's the trap. I believe I must be this way to survive. I must do these things, be a people pleaser, be a good girl, whatever it is for you. But at the same time, I hate myself for being this way. Oh, yeah. And the result is self-hate means survival, and survival means self-hate. And suffering provides our identity. So our identity, hello Harriet Castle, you're going to have to go to the start. It's such a good book. There's nothing wrong with you. Identity is maintained in struggle and dissatisfaction, in trying to fix what's wrong. And so we are constantly looking for what is wrong, constantly creating new crises so we can rise to the occasion and overcome it. And to the ego, that's survival. And it is very important that something be wrong so we can continue to survive it. And it's just, I think I'll stop. Yeah, it's such a cool book. So yeah, tell me, like, share. Yeah, love this. I love it too. It's such a good book, and it's written like this. I know it's probably back to front for you guys, but she says it's written like in handwriting, so you can read it with the heart and not the mind. It's such a cool little book, and I do keep coming back to it. And I just picked it up again this morning after a morning of the fridge is, my new second-hand fridge is leaking, and it's bled like water onto the carpet and up the wooden wall like this, and it's kind of wet and dark, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. What else? The kids were fighting, the girls were fighting. Yeah, a few things, and I was just beating myself up. And then I went for my surfing lesson, and came back. Had a great surf, such a good surf, such good ladies. My teacher's awesome. It's just so much fun. Got to my car, opened my phone, and someone who I'd asked for a cancellation said, oh, I was of the impression that you wanted to keep going, and they just deducted money, and all my great mood was back to self-hate, struggle, assholes, blame. and then I drove home, and I thought, instead of working, creating content, I'm going to do something loving for myself, and that was to pick up this book again and read it. And there you go. There's my content. And yeah, it's so interesting, you know, how when we learn to step by step to become more loving to ourselves, then we also become loving to the whole, more loving to others and the world. And guess what? You're more magnetic to your clients and your friends and people and men and women, you know. So yeah, I'll make a note where I left off. The next title is for tomorrow: Self-hate is a process. Self-hate is a how, not a what. So watch out for tomorrow. If you liked it, like, share, comment, message me, whatever. Love heart. Yeah, send me love hearts. Thank you, Harriet. I love you. We have been on a journey together too. And yeah, I love you, and I love having you in my vortex, in my life. And yeah, we all truly are just walking each other home. So yeah, have a wonderful day. I said I was gonna read 5 minutes, but you know me. So yeah, tell me what you liked about it, and tell me what it is for you. You know, where's your how does your self-hate express? For me, it's like, I'm not good enough, I'm trying so hard, and it still doesn't work. So like, and then when stuff breaks or shit happens, I take it personally. So I'm identified with the struggle, and the, you know, it's just like, yeah, the fridge leaked, so what, you know? So yeah, what is it for you? I'd love to know, and we can support each other. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to finish off my book and I'll share tomorrow. Bye.